Hey folks, welcome back to G4G on YouTube. This is actually the second video that I'm recording very early on in the morning on October 22nd. First video I did, it's going to be uploaded ahead of this one. It's the one talking about potentially Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux, alphas, betas, maybe the full version on Android. But today I wanted to get, or I should say again today, I wanted to get to a topic that I've been sitting on for a little bit. However, other videos have taken precedence. Since this one doesn't really have a timer involved, it's not timely information, it's nothing particularly new, so it's been backburnered, but it's about time that I finally get around to it. So this happens to be my Death Knight. It is not my main, this is my DPS 2. My main is my Feral Fat Bear, or Guardian Fat Bear, that I've had ever since Vanilla. However, this has been my secondary tune for Biffa. What I wanted to deal with in this video is the question, or the topic, what could potentially save World of Warcraft Classic's timeline? And as you can maybe tell from where we are right now, it's going to be Naxx Rammus. So here's the thing. You might be like, well, what do you mean save Classic's timeline? Well, if you think back to Vanilla World of Warcraft, it came out around Thanksgiving of 2004. The charter for my guild, which has never broken up, actually started in December of 2004. It fell apart because we think somebody double signed, so when we turned it in, it crashed. We had to get it all signed again, and our charter dates back to January of 2005. So, needless to say, many members of my clan have been doing this for a while, and I've been doing it almost since day one, so I've seen it all. Back in Vanilla, I totally admit my clan was noobs. I was noob. Clan was noobs, we was noobs. And that's because we were not coming from a MMO background. We were coming from a first-person shooter background. Those of us who originally had signed the charter and everything like that, we were UT players, we were UT 99 players, we were UT 2K4 players, we were first-person shooters. Some of us were Red Faction. Some of us were Return to Castle Wolfenstein, Enemy Territory. Some of us were Halo on the PC. We weren't really MMO players. Later on in Vanilla's timeline, we would ally with a guild that we did Molten Core with, and they had come over from EQ, so they had some MMO experience. We didn't. So there were certain ways that we approached the game and everything that were from a somewhat noobish perspective. However, once we started raiding, we were mid-core. Well, due to that, and due to that for many other guilds back in Vanilla, as you know, Naxx Rammus was not really touched a whole lot. And that's why when Wrath of the Lich King came out, Naxx Rammus was the first raid tier. The reason why that happened is because Blizzard said, hey, not a lot of people got to see Naxx Rammus because a lot of people in Vanilla were kind of newbie, so they just didn't even really get up to this tier of rating. And plus, you know, you had to do the attunement, you had to have the reps and everything like that, expensive crystals. I mean, it was kind of a little bit to get in here. And if you did any of the Vanilla or TBC Naxx Rammus, you got those desecrated armor tokens and everything like that, rather than just like raw loot dropping. Well, when we think of Classic, Classic is accelerating faster than Vanilla is. The content is getting released quicker. If you look at when Dire Maul dropped in Vanilla as compared to Classic, it was a considerable amount of time. It dropped, I believe, in late-ish February, early March of 2005. Well, we're already getting it. Shut up, Farolina. Adults are talking.
In the master's service.
Blah, 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 blah. Yep, time to die.
You cannot hide from me. We'll avenge you.
Nice. My main has that. So, I wonder if I have that appearance. I don't think I do. Yay! New sword appearance. Yay, you let me be myself. So, the timeline for Classic is accelerating as compared to Vanilla. Due to that, it could potentially mean that the content of Classic gets burned through quicker than it does the way that it was way back in Vanilla. And that could be a problem, because you would be like, alright, wait a minute. If that's the case, what's going to keep people playing Classic? There's been many discussions on the topic that maybe there'd be a Classic Plus. Maybe some of the servers would go to TBC. Because of TBC's similarity to Vanilla, not much had changed in the game between the two other than flying. However, the flying was only isolated to Outlands. You could not fly in the Vanilla lands at that point in time. The Vanilla lands still were quite fucked up and not meant to be visible to the naked eye in certain places, like the whole special AQ kingdom that existed out in the world that you weren't supposed to see, and is actually kind of creepy and weird. But anyway, you know, everybody's talking about what could potentially happen down the road for Classic. And you have to ask that question, because how long do you expect for Classic to go? Sure, there may be somebody a year or two down the road who maybe's never touched Vanilla, maybe's never touched Classic, maybe somebody becomes friends with somebody at work or school or college, and they're like, hey, come play this, the granddaddy of all with me, and blah blah blah, and they talk them into playing Classic, and it's like, hey, this is, you know, this is the golden days, this is what Vanilla was like, and this is what post EQ was like, and Dark Age of Camelot, and Asheron's Call, and Ultima Online, and everything like that. But chances are Classic is gonna bleed out eventually, and at the rate in which they're going through Vanilla's timeline, you're probably gonna see it bleed out way quicker. But there is a saving grace, and the saving grace is where I am now, and it's Naxx Rammus. How is Naxx Rammus gonna save Classic? Because nobody says Classic is on a timer. That's how Naxx Rammus is going to save Classic as compared to Vanilla. In Vanilla, you had TBC looming. And somewhere in late 2006, you started the TBC patches, and you started getting the cross-faction stuff dropping in your Molten Cores, and your Onyxias, and all of that kind of happy shit. And then TBC dropped, and all of a sudden, Naxx Rammus, other than for people who were still trying to kind of finish a Tiche and everything, there wasn't really much point to doing Naxx Rammus. TBC was so crazily optimized for the gear in the beginning of it that for a Horde perspective, Thrallmar... Are you serious? Are you fucking serious? Hey, that's like reliving the... That's like reliving the Naxx Rammus experience for me when I was in the Wrath Beta, or I guess if you were on a PvP server. I just wanted to sell some of this shit. Okie dokie. Let's see if that happens again. I just want to make some bag space over here. I don't even know why somebody would start to do that over here. I'm just going to walk inside. Anyway, now that that little attempt at PvP was over. So eventually, TBC was this big end of the calendar for Vanilla WoW. You knew it was coming, you were going to progress past it, and I mean, Thrallmar greens and blues were so much better than the stuff that you had in Vanilla. My Shaman got a shield is like maybe the third or fourth quest in, and it was so much better than the shield that he had from ZG, and then he was getting weapons that were better than that axe from ZG. So Naxx Rammus was very clearly forgotten about, and everybody just proceeded past it. Nobody got to do it. Because the timeline came up. TBC was that line in the sand and said, I'm coming, baby. You better be ready for it. Well, you don't have to do that in Classic. You can do whatever you want with the timeline. You can speed it up. You can slow it down as compared to Vanilla for the patches and the raid introductions and all of that stuff. But the one thing at the end of it all is the fact that Naxx Rammus looms nearly virginal in its rating back in Vanilla. So people can push and push and push and push through Classic until they get to the point where they are Naxx Rammus Raiders. Blizzard doesn't have to shove a next expansion down their throats. They can let Classic go a long time. And look, Blizzard has the data. It's not like they're not gonna know how many guilds are in Naxx Rammus. And now that everybody knows what they're doing, everybody knows what's in store, people know Naxx Rammus looms at the end of the timeline over here. I think a lot of people are going to be like, you know what? We're going to push this guild to raid Naxx Rammus. I didn't do it in Vanilla. I want to do it in Classic. Now's the opportunity. And they can, because Classic is technically open-ended. Nobody is telling them, you know what? Come 2 years from now, 2021, Classic needs to be over. We're shutting the Classic servers down. Hundreds of thousands of people are not going to have a game anymore. We're going to have to roll them back into live WoW. Oh well, tough luck. Well, they don't have to do that. And that's the good thing about it all. And that's kind of the saving grace for Classic WoW, in my opinion. That's the one thing that I think can save Classic's timeline and keep Classic accessible to people and can keep people playing it. Because what'll happen is, once you get tons and tons and tons... Remember this, man? Remember this? Back in Wrath, how bad this particular hallway was? It was kind of like those, God, I don't even remember what the hell you call those things, but the things in Blackwing Lair that spewed out the gas and then, like, slowed you down and everything. That was this particular hallway. But anyway, this raid can keep such life in Classic because Blizzard gets to, you know, be like, hey, we're not going to shut Classic down until the majority of people have cleared Naxx Rammus. And you have all the time in the world to gear. You have all the time to spend right now farming Rag and Onyxia to be able to tackle Blackwing Lair when it pops up. And then when Blackwing Lair pops up, you have all the time in the world to sit in Blackwing Lair until the next raid shows up. And you're in AQ 20, you're in AQ 40. And here's the thing. Cthulhu's not going to be bugged. I don't think they're going to waste time be like, hey, time for you to get that that vanilla experience. Why don't you go deal with a 1 month or however long it was bugged Cthulhu? They're going to give you a fixed Cthulhu, a killable Cthulhu, one that is not mathematically impossible to do, one that is not going to have the randomization that Cthulhu did back in live vanilla where maybe all the healers get sucked into the stomach and then, oh well, you're screwed, or like maybe the tanks go down there, whatever craziness it was. The code base is the code from vanilla back when TBC was about to drop. So all those fixes are in place. So you're not going to waste time. You're going to knife through all of the content at hyper speeds. And then you're going to be in Naxx. And you're going to be in Naxx as somebody who probably was never in there way back in vanilla. And that's where I think Blizzard should put all its money when it comes to Classic WoW. They need to do whatever schedule they want. But if they make a nice gap between Naxx and the tier before it, if they let AQ20 and 40 really sit out there for a long time, monitor the servers, monitor the census data, and see just how many guilds are getting Osirian kills or Cthulhu kills and everything like that. And once they see really good numbers, then go ahead and release Naxx Rammus. And then wait. Because even with all the people knowing what to do now and all the gear in the world, I bet you it's still going to be quite a long time before people are routinely clearing Naxx Rammus. And even some of the more casual guilds are in Naxx Rammus, let alone actually being able to clear it. So, yeah, that's my opinion, guys. That's what I think the saving grace is for Classic. And the thing that truly answers the question, how long can they actually maintain Classic and have it be fresh, have people want to log in, have people play, and have growth. If it wasn't for the fact that, let's say it was Wrath of the Lich King, okay? People did pretty well in getting to Arthas. More so than they did into Sunwell, and more so than they did into 40-man Naxx back in vanilla. You can't quite do the same thing in Wrath, in Cataclysm, in Mop, so on and so forth. Because people were more used to the game and they were just better about the content and everything. So, you don't nearly have to worry about it as much. And you don't have to be as concerned with it in those expansions as you do here. Sunwell, if they ever got to TBC, they could do the same thing with Sunwell. They can ride out the ramp into Sunwell for a very, very long time, and then Sunwell and Naxx can probably stay open for a solid year and have it be workable, have it be fresh. And maybe a year is a little too long. Maybe not. 9 to 12 months, I think Naxx Rammus can sit out there before guilds are just like, okay, next. We want the next thing now. We want something different. What are you going to give us now? They're not even aggro to me. They're just... They're going up to their boss and they're like, no, boss, what happened? What killed you, Papadabagropulus? Oh no, he was so young. He had so much to live for. He was gassy and he was green and... Don't want to fail the ledge, boss. Oh, Papadabagropulus, you had the best Greek food in all of Naxx Rammus. Oh, such a tragedy. Anyway, because if you let Naxx Rammus hang around so that even the casual guilds are ready to get in here and making progress, let alone like full clears, that's how you can do it. That's the thing that keeps Classic alive and relevant for a long period of time, and you don't have to answer that question, what next? Do we go to TBC? Do we go to Classic Plus? Do we put stuff in Classic we said we're going to be in vanilla that we didn't do? Like, are we going to give them Naxx? Are we going to give them a classic Naxx for the classic crowd without coming up to TBC? This is going to be interesting, the solo. Yeah, that's my take on it, guys. Let me know what you think about it. Do you agree? Do you think Naxx 40 can be the thing that keeps classic relevant? Do you think they'll have to do something else? Like, take it the TBC route, take it the plus route, throw new content in classic in order to keep it live? Do you think maybe people will get into Naxx super quickly and it won't be able to keep people... yeah. Oh, well, they're both here, so okay, that'll work.
I do not have a target.
Do you think Naxx will be cleared too quickly and it will fall out of relevancy very easily? I don't know. It remains to be seen, but I do know people are going through Molten Core quicker than they were way back in vanilla, so let me know what you guys think below. I'm really curious about this particular topic, as it's one that I've been sitting on for some time, and I just find it interesting. Thanks for checking out the video, everybody. Let me know what you think down below. Let's start a conversation on this.